Today we bless our animals because they have blessed us so much. Most of us have gone to sleep with a purring cat lying on our chest or with our head on the breathing flank of a dog, or we've flown across the field on the back of a horse. Some of us have wobbled up in the air on the back of a camel or had a snake around our neck that didn't squeeze. They comforted us when we cried. We comforted them and kept them healthy as long as we could. They taught us about life. They still do. We learn how to be in the moment from some of our animals. We learn how to play. At our house, we watch Hank TV. Hank is our dog, and he is very entertaining. He likes to play dog jokes, like rolling in mud and getting very wet and then embracing you with enthusiasm. He thinks that's hysterical. We sit out in the back in camp chairs, and he has his own, and he lies on his back in the camp chair and oozes off one side and makes you laugh, and then he'll ooze off the other side and make you laugh. They forgive you anything. I have yelled. They seem to have a pretty short memory for bad behavior. I do not. The whole purpose of life is to learn how to love and be loved, and they teach us how to be loved. They look at us with trust in their eyes, and we go, uh-oh, they trust me. I'm going to do my best to live up to that. Except cats. It's hard to tell whether they trust you or not. They kind of look at you like, yeah. Or else like they're trying to make you do their will. Animal companions, studies show, make people who live with them have lower blood pressure than they otherwise might. There is a home for the elderly called the Eden Alternative, which is filled with over 100 birds, dogs, cats. It has an outside environment with rabbits and chickens. And now the study says they experience a 15% lower mortality rate than traditional nursing homes over a span of 5 years. I kind of know what that means, although I think on this planet we experience a 100% mortality rate. So what I figure is they mean the people there with the animals maybe live longer and better than the people in the other residential homes. Animal-assisted therapy has been around forever. There are kids who need it. There are grown-ups who need it. There are people in prisons who need it. Who hasn't watched Pit Bulls and Parolees? We sometimes tell stories about animals in order to represent parts of ourselves. Who hasn't felt like the little mouse in the woods that everybody wants to eat? And you just have to make yourself powerful some other way by being clever. And the mouse in the story is very inspiring because the mouse is clever. And sometimes we let ourselves be represented by certain animals. You say, I want to have the joie de vivre of that animal, or I want to have the deep calm of that animal, or the athleticism of that show jumper. Or sometimes you say, yes, kitten, I too sometimes feel like using my claws to climb the curtains. I too feel like barking in a very scary way at people who run past my house. We act like they know how we communicate, and they do their best because they have less power than we do in our households, and so it is always the person with less power that knows the language of the person with more power, right? And so we smile at them, and I think they eventually learn that we mean happy things by that rather than that we're baring our teeth at them. They sometimes look pitiful, our dogs do. They lower their heads and lower their ears, and we say, oh, what's the matter? But that is really their I'm friendly and I'm non-threatening look. Their let's play look is a lot easier to read. If you went to another human at a party and went, they'd probably know what you meant. They, like we, get excited or humiliated or confused by certain things, but it's not always the things we think it's going to be. And we need the same stuff: food, shelter, exercise, attention, territory, a purpose. We think so humanly centered sometimes that we say things like, humans domesticated wild wolves and made them into dogs. When really you could look at it in the other way and say, wild wolves noticed that humans had fire and stayed warm, and they had food. And if we lie just outside the campfire and look non-threatening, we might get food. If we pull someone out of the fire who's gotten drunk and fallen in, we get more food. If we lie on our backs and wave our paws in the air, we get our bellies rubbed. Who's to say they didn't domesticate us? Most animals in most households have the households trained pretty well. Even for ordinary families in ordinary time, animals give their emotional gifts. They are a personality in the middle of a family, and they're deeply loved and deeply missed when they're gone. Other studies show that people have bonded with their favorite animal in the family about as much as they've bonded with their favorite person in the family. There's an anthropologist who wrote a book called The Social Lives of Dogs. She began observing her husband's dog, the dog her husband called the keeper of my soul. Idly one night she said, so if you had to pick between your dog and me, which would it be? He was silent for a moment, and then he said, don't ask me that. It was in a publication called Yoga World years ago that I saw a wonderful description of how to be a good companion. Sometimes an animal can be this to a human can be this to an animal, humans to each other, animals with each other. To be a good companion, it says you'll need to be caring and concerned about the other's happiness. As a friend, you'll want to share their concerns and their labors. Naturally, you will want to make their life better, more pleasant. You will have to know life and yourself well enough to become trustworthy, capable of keeping your agreements. To be a friend, your word must be true. A true friend, you will hold goodwill in your heart even when you misunderstand or distrust your gracious companion. You will refuse to indulge bad moods created by your own inadequacies. It is not easy to be a true friend. May we all find a being like this at least once in our lives to be a good companion to and to learn companionship from. We're grateful to our animal companions for teaching us about this. Now, we all know, if we've been coming here for a while, that the way to bless is to put your hands on some being and wish good things for them. So if you have your animal here with you, you're welcome to put your hands on your animal, or if you are with a person that wouldn't be freaked out by this, you can do this for them. And bless them. And so, repeat after me if you care to. This is our blessing. I don't bless all the animals because in our theology, everyone is a priest. All believers are priests. And so we can do our own blessing. Thank you very much. Bless you, my friend. You show me how to enjoy my life as I enjoy yours. You give me the chance to nurture you with food and exercise. I get mad sometimes at the things you do. But you always forgive me. I hope I get as good at forgiving as you are. Thank you for blessing my life and making it better. I want to make yours better too. It is time for the animal parade. So here's what we're going to do. We're going to come up either one of these two aisles and go back down either one of these two aisles. You are welcome to come up on the stage and go around. So if you're over here, it's probably good to go that way because we're coming up these two aisles and down those two aisles. I'm looking forward to meeting your animals.